another catchphrase. You know, casualty is the word we use instead of dead brother, dead sister, dead mother. And, you know, I learned in Iraq that you can do good one day and evil the next. The same village in western Baghdad that we delivered clean water to one day was protesting outside ECP 7, outside the airport there, Baghdad International Airport, a few weeks later. They were justifiably outraged that we had killed an entire family with 25mm HE rounds. This family was inside their home at the time of engagement, and it had been thought that an insurgent had run into that house after firing some small arms at a tower that was guarding the airport. He had fired some 7.62 rounds from an AK-47, you know, and they thought he ran into this house. And I remember hearing the radio transmission while I was in the tower. I was in a tower on the same wall, just happened to be, and we monitor the radio. It's the same unit, my unit. We were guarding that part of Iraq, that part of Baghdad, I mean. And I remember hearing the radio, and Sergeant Olivas, who was the track commander on that Bradley, was saying, "Are you sure, sir, because we're not certain, this may not be the house, do I have permission to engage?" And I kept, you know, I remember over and over again, the captain, our commander, said, "Yes, engage that house." And Sergeant Olivas has to live with that, just like I have to live with some of the things that I did. So I can only imagine what he goes through, killing that whole family like that. Some will argue that because of U.S. involvement, you can now walk around in the Baghdad market where children are out freely playing, which is a bogus claim. I dare any one of you to go to Baghdad and walk around the market. I would still offer the question, even if that were so, can the Iraqis that I or my comrades killed rise from the dead and shop in that market? The answer is obviously no. I came back from Iraq and had seen great suffering in Baghdad. And I was very screwed up. So, me and my old lady, we divorced. Me and my wife, we divorced. We were both alcoholic. It didn't help that she drank too, but I had so many problems where I would drive anybody to drink to live with me. And I got on drugs and all that. And I didn't know what to do with myself, so I went back into the Army, because it's all I knew. And so I became a, you know, this is another weird thing about the language, how they're always trying to change things to make it prettier. I was a healthcare specialist, which is actually combat medic. You know, they changed their name from combat medic to healthcare specialist. How absurd. You know, all the good that could have ever been done in my mind in the country of Iraq, and certainly there are other veterans who aren't going to wear an Iraq Veterans Against the War shirt, aren't going to join forces with us, aren't going to speak out at protests, aren't going to demonstrate, write their congressman. There are other veterans out there who are locked into this, you know, mind state that it's a just cause. But, you know, all the good that ever could have been done in that country just won't bring back the nearly 1 million dead human beings, brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers. I mean, imagine if somebody came to our country and tried to do what we're doing in Iraq, Afghanistan, and elsewhere. I just can't seem to pull any good out of that warfare. And I really encourage people to, you know, not join the military and try to follow other avenues. I didn't know about federal student aid or anything like that. I was just totally ignorant. And I ended up in a psych ward while I was in the military that second time, because I was having such problems with drugs, alcohol, and PTSD symptoms. And so I spent like 70 days there. And as soon as I got out, I had, verbally assaulted this first sergeant. And so I had to do a little time in the military jail there at Fort Sill for telling this first sergeant off. And I thought, wow, they see that I just got out of the hospital, and then they turn around knowing I have problems and put me in jail, okay? So, another thing I want to point out is just the amount of sexual harassment and sexual assault towards females in the military is disgusting. I see it every day, everywhere else anyways. But you would think, in a disciplined place like the military, that it would be very hard for that to exist. No, it's not. In fact, it's so common and rampant that there's military jails packed with rapists and things of that nature. I saw it today, actually. I was driving here on Roosevelt Road, and there was a guy calling from his car, shouting his phone number at a pretty black woman walking across the street. And I had commented to my brother and girlfriend who were in the car, see, that's what I'm talking about. That's the society we live in, where that's appropriate. But definitely digressing there. Y'all, I hate to think that this is as far as we come, and the evolutionary process, that this is as far as we come, that we can't figure out a way to oust a dictator or make change that is good without dropping bombs and deploying soldiers and occupying countries for imperialism and empire. They need men and women to pull those triggers, men and women to fly those jets. Without the men and women to do so, I suppose they'd have to get a good robot thing going on. I don't know. Louis, do you think there's some I'm missing?
Fine, we're going to have time for questions. Okay. So we have 1 more minute.
All right. Let's see. So, I speak in classrooms with We Are Not Your Soldiers, and if you have brothers, sisters, or cousins, or anybody that you know that's in high school, and they have recruiters that prey on the kids there, let We Are Not Your Soldiers know. Contact us, and we can send out a veteran. It'll probably be me, and some activists to talk about the facts, talk about the numbers, how many veterans commit suicide, how many veterans are homeless, how many sexual assaults happen. These are things the recruiters are not going to talk about. They're not going to talk about these things. They're not going to talk about civilian casualties and things of that nature. So let us know. We are not your soldiers, and we'll come down to that high school and try to have a discussion, an open discussion, instead of the one-sided thing that they're getting from the recruiters. Power to the people.